Welcome to Cook the Math, where culinary art meets mathematical precision. Thank you for joining. I am finally back after nearly a 2-year hiatus, and the big reason for that was just because life got in the way and I couldn't prioritize the work-life balance. So I put the Cook the Math series on hold, but I feel like now is more of a crucial time than ever just because fast food prices are increasing and so are grocery item prices. So I feel like this is a perfect opportunity to bring back probably the series I do the most, Dine or DIY, where I take a certain fast food item and compare it to if you were to get the ingredients at the grocery store and make it at home. And I looked through the different websites and I noticed that the day that I'm going to be uploading this, which should be the day you would be watching this, unless if you're watching it later, would happen to be National Hot Dog Day. So I thought it would be a perfect time to do a hot dog for the Dine or DIY series. And not just any hot dog, but probably one of the most famous ones if you live in the Midwest, the Portillo's Chicago style hot dog. Now, if you were to go to a Portillo's, they will say something like drag it through the garden, which basically means there's a ton of vegetables on there and a couple of some spices and condiments as well. And the ingredients for a Chicago style hot dog are as follows. We, of course, have the hot dog itself, the bun, onion, relish, pickle, specifically pickle spears, tomatoes, peppers, technically sport peppers, we're just going to shorthand it to peppers, mustard, and celery salt. And as per usual, we are going to place this into 3 different sections. The first one being our total cost, which is the price of the item as is. Next is the cost per serving. So how much it is for one serving of that item. And lastly, the cost per part, or how much it would cost to use the amount that you're supposed to use in order to make one of that item. Now keep in mind that each item is from Walmart and the cost will vary depending on the item you get, what store you go to, and where you live. So absolutely keep that in mind, especially as prices are going up. So first off, we're going to start with the hot dog. Now, Portillo's uses 100% premium beef franks. So I thought, what better way to get a 100% beef frank than through Vienna? And the price of the Vienna beef franks are $6.98, and it's a package of 8. For the buns, Portillo's uses poppy seed buns, and the only one I can find at Walmart is from S. Rosen's, and the cost of that is $3.92, also for 8. For the yellow onion, it is typical to get that at any store, so there's no brand of it, so it is going to cost $1.13, and I'm actually going to base it on ounces, but a typical onion at Walmart is about 14 ounces. For the relish, I'm using Great Value's sweet pickle relish, and the cost of that is $1.82, and it is for 63 teaspoons. I'm going to use a lowercase t for abbreviation. For the pickles, I'm once again using Great Value. They're dill pickle spears to be exact. And it is $2.64. And the jar does say 3/4 of a spear, but I did convert that to 12 spears. So I'm just going to write 12 on there. Now, the tomatoes are similar to onion, in which there's no brand for it. So each tomato at Walmart is 29 cents. And of course, it's for one tomato. And because one tomato is technically one serving, we're also going to put that in our next column. For the peppers, as I mentioned before, they are the sport peppers. And there are two that I could find, but one that we are going to be using is, of course, the Vienna beef sport peppers. And the cost for that is $6.27, and that is for 68 peppers. For the mustard, we are using the Great Value mustard, and that is 74 cents for 15 tablespoons, using a capital T for abbreviation. And last but not least, the celery salt, which I thought was going to be one of the more expensive items. We are using the Great Value brand because that is one of the only brands of celery salt they had at Walmart. I think the other one was McCormick. And they were only $2.18, which is not too awful for a spice. And it is for 31 teaspoons. Now we are going to do the cost for serving. Basically, all we're doing is taking the price and dividing it by the number of servings there are. So for the hot dog, it is $6.98 divided by 8. That gives us a total of 87 cents. For the bun, it's $3.92 divided by 8, and that would be a total of 49 cents. For the onion, it's $1.13 divided by 14 ounces. That gives us with 8 cents. For the relish, it's $1.82 divided by 63 teaspoons. That leaves us with 3 cents. For the pickle, just $2.64 divided by 12 spears. That is about 22 cents. For the peppers, $6.27 divided by 68 gives us about 9 cents. For the mustard, 74 cents divided by 15 tablespoons is 5 cents. And lastly, the celery salt, $2.18 divided by 31 teaspoons gives us 7 cents. Now lastly, the dollar per part. We just have to multiply it by how much we actually need for one Chicago-style hot dog. So for the hot dog, the bun, actually for probably about half of these, we just have to pretty much carry it over because we only need one of that thing. For example, the hot dog, since we only need one hot dog, it's going to be 87 cents. Same thing with the bun, that's 49 cents. We also need only 1 teaspoon of the relish, so that stays to 3 cents. We only need 1 pickle spear. And lastly, for the mustard, we only need 1 tablespoon of the mustard, give or take, depending on how much you like mustard. So that gives us a majority of that. For the onion, I did a little bit of digging, and usually people put about a 1/4 ounce of onions on there. So we just have to divide the 8 cents by 4, and that leaves us with 2 cents. For the tomatoes, it does use 2 slices, which is roughly about a 1/4 tomato, give or take. So we're just going to divide this number by 4, and that's going to be around 7 cents. For the peppers, you just need to multiply this by 2 because it has 2 peppers on there. And lastly, for the celery salt, it's usually a very small amount, so I'm going to go with 1/8 of a teaspoon, so we just have to divide this by 8, which leaves us with around 1 cent. Lastly, we just add every dollar per part together. So adding all these up together, it will cost you $1.94 to make one Portillo's hot dog. Considering that the Portillo's hot dog, and I should have said this at the beginning of the episode, is $3.99 for one, that means it's going to be $2.05 cheaper to make. And if you were to total up the price of every ingredient that you have here, that brings us to a grand total of $25.97. And just for fun, what I did was I divided this number by 8. And when I did that, it turned out to be $3.25 if there were 8 servings. So even if you were to make 8 hot dogs, it would still cost less than if you were to get 8 hot dogs from Portillo's. So that is a breakdown of the Portillo's hot dog, comparing the item itself to how much it would cost to get the ingredients from the store and make it at home. I do feel like this would most likely be cheaper to buy all the ingredients last year compared to this year. And I almost thought of doing a comparison to my first few episodes to see how much the prices have increased or decreased, as well as the grocery store items themselves. If that's something you're interested to, let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know what other items you think I should do for the Dine vs. DIY series, or even part of the Sensible Cuisine series, since I've only done a couple episodes of those. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and keep on cooking and calculating.